I'm Stacy with Stacy's Organizing and Decorating for Life. I'm here to help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspectives. Also have a webpage called stacyforlife.com. And on this webpage, there's a description of the services that I provide as a life coach dealing with addiction, codependency, and grief, but not exclusively to those things, because underneath those things, there's a desire for healing and healthy relationships, as well as development of spiritual and soul consciousness. So if you or anyone you know is interested in any kind of help in that form, then please look me up once again at stacyforlife.com, or you can reach me on many of the social medias, which I'll disclose at the end of this video. So today, our video is kind of like in a low mood, right? Because we're going to talk about some holidays, because inevitably they're coming, and I know that some people aren't ready for them yet. We've dealt with a lot this year. Holidays 2020. Some of you may be thinking, how much more worse could it get? And I'm afraid it could get worse. This year, we've dealt with so many people. I personally know many people who have dealt with death, sudden and mysterious death. We didn't expect death. It's came in tragedies, it's came in sickness, it's came in many kind of ways it has come. So we're going to touch on, a lot with this video, and I don't even really know where I'm going with all of this, because I've also been asked to speak about how the relapses are going, as I'm in recovery, and there's many people. So in these relapses, we're also going to talk about the things that go on during the holiday spirit. Holidays in themselves, there's a higher incident of suicide rates. So how do we handle this in a humane way, but yet not succumb to being codependent? So this is a pretty loaded video. So if you like that this is our topic today, and you're ready to get ready, then please hit the like and subscribe button below. So here in Mexico, the up-and-coming holiday that we celebrate will be Dia de Los Muertos. In America, that's Halloween, and in many other places. But here it's Dia de los Muertos, and it's really a celebration of life. So we look at the different cultures and how they celebrate life, or how they deal with the grief of life. And like I said, I've known many people themselves that have lost loved ones. In Dia de los Muertos, my husband and I disagree, because I celebrate my son on the 1st, which is the Day of the Children. But since he was 18, my husband says the 2nd. So we're in a lock there. But anyway, it's about celebrating. When you celebrate, we buy the kind of marigold-looking flowers, and you buy their favorite food and play their favorite music and things like this to remember them by. It's not that I've seen movies before where people put that loved one's picture aside and nobody talks about it, or what have you. But I think that many of us appreciate talking about our loved ones at different times and sharing stories, so to find the people that you feel comfortable with doing that is a treasure, So I hope that you all are able to do that you're able to share those stories, because I think that that's what our loved ones would want. They say during Dia de los Muertos that the veil is thin, so you can even talk to your loved ones. So I don't believe that I just have to wait for Dia de los Muertos to talk to my loved ones that are on the other side of the veil. There are many opportunities that we get for that. So I hope that when you're dealing with grief at this time, that you remember to honor your loved ones in that best way. That if your grieving way isn't serving you, that you're willing to see things the other way. Sometimes people get so locked into their grief that when their loved ones are trying to communicate through the veil or show them the grace of the other side and the peace of the other side, that they're so trapped in their grief that they're not willing to accept that extension. Because we can have peace too. We're going to miss our loved ones. There's nothing wrong with missing our loved ones. It proves that we loved them. And we're going to love them probably till we take our last breath. So there are certain times that we grieve. And we don't know when it's coming. No one can tell anybody how long they're going to grieve for anything. So if you're dealing with grief this season, just know that the tool is to find those people that you can grieve with. I myself did not go to a grief support group, but you may need to find a grief support group to have people that you feel comfortable with sharing with. I was fortunate that I had a therapist, life coach, and other people to guide and steer me through my grief, to help me with those bumps in the road and to help me process it and see things in a different way than maybe the way that I had been taught to grieve, or maybe the way that, we as a society are taught to grieve. The Western world grieves different ways than other cultures and stuff. So it's good to find out how the other cultures grieve too, to make us more expansive, because our loved ones on the other side are in a more expansive zone. Things aren't in that next dimension like they are here. They don't deal with many of the pains and sorrows that we deal with here. There's more of a freedom there. So of course we miss them and are going to grieve, but it's not like they're missing out on these holidays, y'all. They're having some other things go on, we can't even imagine. But we could imagine good things if we want. It's all in a matter of our choice. So also during these holidays, there's going to be people standing out with the bells. Shortly after Dia de los Muertos comes Thanksgiving. So we're all going to be busting our butts, many people are going to be posting things that they're thankful about. And it's good to have an attitude of gratitude at any time in our lives, not just Thanksgiving. But it's good to be able to celebrate and have the feast and to anticipate the upcoming Christmas holidays in whatever way you see fit to celebrate that. We start thinking about family more so in these holiday times and such. So with family, oftentimes comes baggage. Some people want to go spend the holidays with their families, and some people want to go far, far away. And then 2020 enters a whole new dynamic, because some people are afraid to go spend time with their families because of the whole, health issues that we have going on in our society right now. And then if it was already stressful, there can be arguments and such. So we've got the political sphere coming into everything too, and just to think, because the elections are going to be over, that people aren't going to be whining, because a lot of people are sore losers, and I'm going to, we do our part and we vote, and then we just, hopefully we'll get into acceptance of the votes and not play sore losers. But when you have that dynamic going on too, it's no fun. And I don't know that we're going to have that. Maybe people are sick and tired of that and realize that the point is moot, that there's no point in doing all of that and finding yourself divided at a time that's the holidays and stuff. So that's my hope, that we can find some common ground. So when we look at the holidays, and then after we have Thanksgiving, and we're thankful and grateful for all that we have, the people that are still with us, we go through the grief period, and then we are grateful for the people that we have still with us. And I encourage us through these holidays, because we don't know if it is indeed, after, dealing with what we've dealt with in 2020 and all the losses that we've had through these holidays, I encourage you to be able to leave a person, leave a family member, leave a friend, whatever relationship, job, whatever you're leaving. Because that's one of the facts of life, is that we do. Is that you're able to leave it in peace. Leave it in good consciousness. Because you don't know if the person that you're speaking to or seeing this year is going to be here next year. I'm not trying to sound grim about all this, because at the same time, I'm wanting you to be thankful for the people that you do have. We can see these people that bother us or trigger us as catalysts for our growth. We can become stronger and not be victims because of these people. That's what I try to encourage with you all, is to just get stronger and don't be allowing yourself to be a victim to these people. Sometimes we don't know what's going on with these different things. I've seen things, I watch the social media, and I've seen things where relationships, there's things going on where people don't know or understand, and people try to explain things biblically, people try to explain things scientifically, but we really don't know what's going on. All we know is just what's in our hula hoop, right? In our circle. So nothing outside of us is going to fix this. It's our own thoughts and perspectives that are going to take us. So with that being said, I want us to get into how we can be humane and the differences between being humane and being codependent. So during this season, when people, and there's so many people who do need help, if you can help somebody, the humane way to help people is if you can help somebody without an expectation of receiving back. That's humanity. And to measure, can I afford to give this? Can I afford to give it mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially? We've talked about this before. And so if you can afford to give it in those ways, then by all means, as I said in last week's video, if you have something somebody wants and you're not going to use it, why wouldn't you give it to somebody else rather than letting it sit there and rot and rust or collect dust, So by all means, if you have it to give it, but give it with no expectation. See, that's humanity. Now, in codependence, if you have an outcome expected if you give somebody, then make sure that you have stated your expectation. If it's a loan, then you say, this is a loan. But if you're loaning this person something and they've not paid you back in the past, that's an unrealistic expectation to give somebody more money when they've been known not to pay it back in the past. And all that is a trigger for resentment. That's to collect a resentment. And that's where the codependent feelings come in, is because we want to help people because we want them to behave the way we want them to behave. We want them to be okay the way we want them to be okay. We want them to believe like we believe. We want them to love us and appreciate us. If you're given for all of those reasons, that's more so codependent. If you're given humanely, that's because you're giving because it makes you feel good and you have no attachment to the outcome of that gift. So just know that those are the differences. It's hardest, I think, with those that are closest to us to gauge whether to give in or to not give in to this, and whether we're codependent or not. Nobody wants to be called codependent, or understand it. I've learned that there's a lot of words in our vocabulary, a lot of things that we hear them being, said, but we don't know the actual meaning of them. I myself was called codependent long before I accepted my codependence issues and worked on those and knew about those. So, like I said, I see many people on social media. I see people now being triggered by people who may be narcissists, and I don't like labels. We all know this. However, I think you do need to get familiar with behaviors that are under certain behaviors, certain labeled behaviors. So if you're dealing with somebody who you think is making you feel bad, first off, it's about building our character. That's how I say and why I say that these people that trigger us are catalysts, because nobody can make us feel a certain way. However, when we're dealing with certain people on a daily basis, we may think they're making us feel a certain way. Really, they've just got bad energy and their own insecurity issues, and we are taking that on. We're giving them our power. So that's really what it amounts to when you look at it that way, without the labels and everything. So the thing is that they are a catalyst, because when they have us questioning ourselves and our value, when we think they're having us question ourselves and our value, we are really questioning ourselves and our value if we're playing into that. You can deal with these people without questioning yourselves and your value, but you have to have a high regard and respect for yourself. And if you don't have that, then you can get that. You can. There's support groups, there's life coaches, there's therapy, there's all kinds of ways. Because I too have dealt with that, and I choose not to call myself a victim. I choose to call these people catalysts more so than to label them certain names, designated by their behaviors. It doesn't serve me just to talk about their behavior. What serves me is to find out that this is their behavior, and what is my behavior? what's going to resonate more with my soul and make me happy with my behavior rather than giving my power away to somebody else. So hence you work on your codependency so somebody else doesn't have your power. Because people will take your power if you let them. Trust, they will. So what is getting to know your power? Getting to know your power is getting to know yourself. Your soul of souls, what really resonates with you. A lot of people have been told all their lives what they thought and what they felt and what would make them feel better. If your family's not doing it, then the TV might be doing it. You know, there's a programming and conditioning that's gone on for quite a while. You know, and many people have succumbed to it. But it's a time now where we're looking at many different things and seeing how our thoughts can change and our perspectives can change and what's really real to us, you know. And this holiday season will give us the opportunity to be able to see what's really real to us. It'll be about jumping over those catalysts and building ourselves up through those jumps and turns and twists and dives and curves and all of these things that we still have looking at us through the end of 2020 and possibly in the beginning of 2021. We don't even know what's going to happen these days. When I go see my own life coach, it's like we don't even know what's going to happen in the future days. All you are in control of, like I said, is what's in your hula hoop. You know? So humane is being able to give and to give without attachment. To give because it makes you feel good. To give because you have it and you're grateful, you know, as you go into Thanksgiving. So it's all about building in this time. You know, you go into Thanksgiving, you're grateful if you have it. And for whatever you have, being grateful. Maybe you don't have anything to give to anybody else but a smile. Maybe your kind eyes through the mask. Maybe just sending somebody love and light who you can see is obviously having a bad day. You know, just saying, I send this person love and light. Not giving your power away, you know? Because you don't have to buy in and get into that, but your wounds will interact with other people's wounds. That's why I say it's a catalyst for our growth. If you have the chance to get books, I suggest Don Miguel Ruiz, The Mastery of Love. If you're looking for more love in your life and to healing the wounds, if you feel like you keep attracting the same thing or that, you know, you go through periods of time, abstinence in relationships, and then you keep, you know, finding that your relationships are the same way. You know, it's learning to love yourself first, and then you're going to attract something different. You know, and if you don't attract something different, you'll be willing to see it differently and think differently about it. And lastly, as promised, I'm going to talk about relapse and recovery in my terms. Remember, I am not a doctor. I am not a therapist. I'm not a scientist. I'm a person who's trying to give you valuable, soul-felt, down-to-earth information through my own experiences. So I have known people who have gone back out during this time, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's the codependency of not feeling comfortable in our own skin. You know, we've been through so much this year of being locked in and everything else and not being able to express the way that we may typically normally be able to express, not to be able to congregate the way we used to congregate. You know, we've lost loved ones in recovery too. Some of them were clean and some of them were not, you know, and it's being able to find ourselves. I think that 2020 has offered many of us that opportunity to be able to even go deeper inside ourselves and find ourselves. But at the same time, there's many people that didn't understand and that 2020 just doesn't make sense. And they have these dreams and goals and visions. And a lot of people think that they've had to give up on that because of the outside exterior things that are going on. Again, if you have a life coach or a therapist, they can help you stay with your interior and stay grounded. Or if you have certain spiritual practices, maybe you can stay grounded. Even scientifically, you could stay grounded in those ways. But I wanted to encourage, you know, as we get into the holly jolly holidays and the festivities, that you don't have to drink. You don't have to use. If you've been in a recovery program, and you have said, because there's one title I will give myself, is that I'm an addict. and I know this every day. And just me saying this every day is able to help me moderate my behaviors, because I can be addicted to anything because I have an addictive personality. So acknowledging that every single day, whether I go to a meeting or I'm not in a meeting, is a way that I remember who I am and what I'm capable of, because I get to have peace and serenity as long as I don't pick up a drink. But I know even after 23 years that if I picked up a drink, that I would not know what I was doing. And I tease people that I would get kicked out of Mexico down here drinking, because if you've driven or tried to drive down in Mexico, or, and I'm not real fluent in Spanish, so I would get in deep, deep trouble. So there would be no way that, I would just be having a sip. So I just want to encourage you to be true to who you are. If you have identified yourself or labeled yourself, that there's a certain peace that we have found, whether or not we've been able to go to the meetings, whether or not we've been able to connect with other people, that it's never too late, that you can still connect, that there's all kinds of things online you can still connect to. And fortunately, I myself, I like the physical connection with people, and I've been able to get out and go to meetings, a few times a week. I mean, not like we used to, but still, I just want to encourage you all to stay connected and to remember that we don't have to pick up. We don't. We don't have to pick up to fit in with those office parties. We don't have to pick up to fit in with any of the parties, the holiday festivities, any of those things. That if we're feeling lost and lonely, there's always somebody else who's had this experience, who cares, that you can't save your face and your ass at the same time. So please reach out to somebody. Okay? So with all that being said, I hope that this video has been helpful. Sometimes I think too fast. This video has been helpful, and that it will help you prepare for the holidays. And as always, I have a Topic Tuesday now. If you follow me on Facebook, it's Stacy Renee, or you can look me up at Stacy's Organizing and Decorating for Life and like my page on Facebook. I have both of those pages on Facebook. On Twitter, it's just Stacy Renee. And on Instagram, it's Stacy Renee 8. They made me include an 8. But you can follow me on any of those social medias. And if you need any, if you have any topics that you want me to cover, if you need to talk to somebody, say for 30 minutes, I'd be willing to give you 30 minutes of my time. If you're seeking help with an issue, if you just want to vent, I'm not around. You have friends you can vent to. But if you really want, like I said last week, in recovery, we say, all I want to know is what you want to do about your problem and how I can help, because I can't help anybody who's not willing to help themselves. So that's something else to remember when you're, sharing humane and codependently, is if somebody's not willing to help themselves, then don't have an expectation. Quit giving with an expectation that they're going to behave like you want them to behave. There's many great people who share videos about codependency on here. Lisa Romano is one that she has got a whole, catalog of codependency if you just seriously want to know about codependency. But if you're like me, I try not to give you too much information there, though if you're wanting help with your codependency, I'm here. But I know before I wanted help with my codependency, I really didn't want to hear about it. And I wouldn't just watch a video about codependency. But life on life's terms, I always want to know about spirituality. I always want to know about how to be able to be more connected with nature, more connected with the universe, more connected with, being grounded. Those kind of things are things that I try to share with you and help you through, So, again, just reach out to me on any of those things. You can rewind and watch it again to see what social media page you want to find me on. Again, even here at YouTube, you can comment or message, and I'll also leave you my email, stacyreinick@gmail.com. And again, there's always, if you forgot what I do, there's always stacyforlife.com. Again, I'm here to help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspectives, and I hope this video has been helpful, and I look forward to connecting with you again next week, and I hope that you'll have a great and wonderful weekend. So with all that being said, I wish you much peace and love, and thank you so much for allowing me to have this time with you. Your time is valuable to me, and I do appreciate it very much. Thank you. Bye.